Welcome to the 5 Secrets to Cure Procrastination and Laziness. Hello, everybody. My name is Coach Kendra, and I am here with the beautiful Dr. Jane Mims today.
Hello. So many people come to us and they say, oh, help me stop procrastinating, or I can never get this done. And Kendra, don't you find that they're just kind of stuck in this pattern of can't?
Absolutely. And I think we've all been there before. We do have some 5 tips today to kind of get you out of that cycle of just feeling like you're not getting things done.
Yeah, one thing that I want to say though, usually because we do have our time management course, and then we do some of this in your recovery reset focus curriculum. But so many times when people come, they have misdiagnosed their issue, and they'll say, they'll have a boundaries issue is the real issue, but they'll say, I'm just a procrastinator. Help me figure out how to stop doing this. And that's procrastination isn't really the issue.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of issues underlying or underneath that, or things that you can work on to help with what you would consider your procrastination points.
Yeah.
Number 1 is actually accept what you're not. A lot of people are living in a world today, or in their lives, with a lot of issues that they haven't focused on or delved into. And so you have to empty out those old belief systems and feelings before you can let new things come in. So accept what you're not.
It kind of reminds me of that old nursery rhyme story or Mother Goose story about the ugly duckling.
Yeah.
This beautiful swan was trying to be a duck and trying to be a duck and trying to be a duck, and was really bad at it because it was a swan. And that so many of us are doing that because we see other people who are good at things and we admire that and we try to embody it, but our strengths lie somewhere else.
Yeah. And just accepting what you are not is a step in the right direction in terms of finding what you are, who you are as a person.
Yeah.
The second thing, the second tip or the second secret is know how you learn. So we all have different ways of learning things. Know your strengths and your weaknesses when it comes to learning. So you know a little bit about this, Dr. Jane.
Absolutely. What kind of a learner are you?
I'm a visual learner, totally visual. So if I see something being done, I can follow it. I'm not the learner type where you read or sit in a class and listen and then go do it. I have to see it happening. How about you?
Well, it's interesting because I always thought, in school, I always thought, no, I must be an audible learner because studying wasn't where it was for me. But when I'm in classes and all it is, or, lectures, that sounds like fun, doesn't it? Let's go sit in a lecture.
Not really. I'd be sleeping.
I know exactly. And so when it's all visual or all audible, I'm lost and I need more. And so I found out that I'm a both.
Combination. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm a combo. So I do really well with presentations maybe that's why when I teach classes or when I work with our clients, a lot of times I'll have graphs and I'll explain them because it meets both of the people where they are, or maybe they're this, weird mutt combination like me.
Yeah. And a lot of people give up when they're learning something, or let's say they go to a lecture and they're like, oh, I can't do this. What it is actually is that they have a different way of learning, and knowing how you learn is really important.
Yeah. And one just trick, if there is somebody who's a visual learner and you do find yourself in the lecture hall setting. Now Kendra has been to workshops and lectures and things like that with me, and she sees me and I've got my laptop in my lap and I have crazy fast fingers. And so taking incredibly ridiculously fast notes, not worrying about the typos because I can go back and decode them later, but that actually helps to bring the visual part into it for me. So taking mad notes and being active when I present, I always ask people a lot of questions, raise your hand and take notes and write this down and answer this question. Because when you're making yourself active, when you're making the different tracks in your brain active, then it'll start to connect better for you.
Absolutely. And it is amazing to watch you do that. I've sat with you in.
I made a lot of money in college because people bought my notes for me.
You're incredible. Yeah. The third secret is test mediocrity. In other words, don't be just the mediocre person. Most people today are just living an average life because that's what they think they're supposed to be doing. And instead of going out there and finding yourself and testing the mediocre stuff, you're not mediocre. You're not average. And so, in order to you're always wanting to go out and search for that thing that just isn't average, and it just kind of
Absolutely.
keeps things lively and keeps things going for you in your life. So
Yeah, and I want to offer just one little shift on something that you said, just a possibility of a slight tweak. You said that most people are living a mediocre life because that's what they think they're supposed to be doing.
mm,
I think that that's valid. However, I think that a tweak or a slight shift to that is they haven't opened themselves up to a possibility outside that.
yeah, absolutely.
So instead of actually thinking this is what I'm supposed to be doing, they haven't put thought to it. And so they're just living what's been handed to them. It would be like being handed a bland meal and not considering salt and pepper to bring the flavors out.
And once you discover that there's so much more out there, which is what I've had in my life, it opens up a whole new life. It's just so amazing. I feel like I'm living a third life of mine, or a fourth life, and just the feeling is amazing when you know that there's so much more out there than what you've been living. So
Yeah,
it's a
absolutely.
great thing to figure out.
And
The
I
other
love
one,
and I love your secret number 4.
yes. So that one is be curious.
Be
So
curious.
yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead and say a little bit about that.
Yeah, this is something that I work with a lot of clients, as a former journalist, as someone who is a communication expert. A lot of people come to me and they ask me to help them increase their communication abilities, their communication skills in relationships and work. And the one thing that people are not seeing, the way that they're getting in their own way, is that they come into communication with their agenda. You do, I do, anybody who's watching this does. We come into a conversation or any sort of communication with our own agenda, and it's just what we do because our brains know what our agenda is. And by doing that, we're blocking ourselves, just like we were just talking about, you're living a mediocre life because the thought hasn't gone into it that something else could exist. If you do that, you launch into communication with your own agenda blindly, then you're blocking yourself from new information. And so when people have contentious relationships, spouse, children, coworkers, and they're just kind of butting heads. Have you ever felt like that, Kendra, where you're just
Oh
kind
yeah.
of, butting heads with somebody and you're not hearing each other and it's just not working, and it causes frustration, which causes us to lock down more and really solidify into our original mission more, which makes the communication break apart. If you'll take a breath and take a step back and just start not asking why in like a 3-year-old kid way, well, why? Well, what? But asking in here, why? What's behind that? What's the reason underneath that statement? What's the reason underneath that tone? What's the real need? If you use curiosity, and the thing that I always encourage our clients to do is to visually and audibly, internally, not to do this with other people, but to think, every time they're in a conversation, to be asking themselves, like, just that, what's the bottom of this?
Yeah.
It opens up love, trust. I mean, I've had people who were completely locked down in business conversations. When they start to employ that skill, all of a sudden things start to loosen up and get more comfortable.
Yeah. And then you get used to using that and doing things that way. So when you're communicating with everybody, it just is an automatic thing going forward. And I know I've incorporated that into my communication, and it's made a huge difference in how I communicate with everybody in my life. And it's just a matter of being present and asking what is underneath that sentence, or what is it that I'm feeling? Why do I feel like I need to defend myself in this way or something of that sort. So being curious is so important.
So important. Curiosity, it's a gift.
It is a gift.
And it will
And
help you be influential. It will help build your influence with other people, because the one thing that other people want to hear from you is that you're interested in them. And so if you're employing curiosity, they're going to soften, and they will
yeah,
be more likely to hear your side of
yeah, and that's actually what's happening with me and my communication. And the other thing is the more I know, the more I figure out, the more I want to know.
yeah.
So it's I've become more curious and able to listen more and really excited about uncovering those little things that in the past have stopped me from good communication. So it is
Yeah.
a huge thing. And then the last secret that we have is don't let fears stop you. And this is something that I used to hear all the time is don't feel fear, don't, and it's really not true. Fear is natural. It's a natural, normal response to things. It's your brain's way of protecting you, and we all feel fear. Even the top people that you see speaking on stage or singing or whatever the case may be, jumping out of planes, we all feel fear. The difference is that some of us, and a good skill to learn is to literally look at the fear, say hello to it, and then set it aside and kind of move past it. It's going to be there. You just have to move past it. And
Yeah.
that's what I do in my life now is I feel
That's
fear all the time.
Well, one of the things that I teach, different businesses and companies or conferences will bring me in to teach different things, and depending upon what they want me to do, usually one of the elements in it, I always, write up on the board BFF and ask everybody what that means. What does BFF mean? And they're like, best friends forever. Close. I say be friends with your fear. And it
Yeah.
really is my secret to success, because fear keeps you small. It keeps you inside your comfort zone, which we call the failure zone, because there's no growth there. And it's really more than moving past your fear, Kendra. You face them. And I've seen you face them because I've seen pictures of you falling out of an airplane, jumping out of an airplane with a parachute on, So, I mean, you didn't just move past it, you jumped into it. And that's what you have to do. We're taught to fear, and that keeps us small. So if we can instead of letting it weigh us down, put that on the ground and stand on it, it will elevate us to greater heights. So you have to figure out how to be friends with fear. And that is one thing that we teach people how to do.
Yeah, it's actually really amazing once you're able to conquer that. So that's all we have today, the 5 secrets of getting rid of or taking care of your procrastination and laziness. And it was a pleasure being with you today. And we will see you on the next video.
Absolutely. Make sure that you click the thumbs up button to let us know that you liked this and that you want more content like this on GILD Coaching's YouTube channel, and hit the subscribe button and the little bell so you know the next time that we drop a video to help you live a life with more success and lower stress. See you next time.
See you next time. Bye-bye.